talking?
Game. We are live on Facebook on our page.
Gentlemen and ladies, we are live with the third episode of the Men on Form podcast. Come
Good
on.
intro, man. Good
We're
intro,
live,
my
man.
friend.
We're
We
here.
are live.
We're doing
live.
it. Oh no. How you doing, Michael? What's the rumour?
Very well, my friend. What's the rumour? What's the rumour? What is the rumour? Let me ask you, what is your rumour, mate? What's the rumour
What
you're
is
in?
my rumour? My rumour is spring starts today.
Is that official?
It's official. I
I
cancelled
have.
it for a month, and I'm officially starting my spring today. I've even got my spring shades ready to go. But yeah,
Man,
it's taken me a month to get here.
I've got no shades. I don't wear glasses anyway. I'm too cool.
I've got hair, so I kind of have to work around things. Yeah, I'm very excited to be here today, mate. On this live show. What's going on over there?
Loads, man. Loads. Just coaching, kids. Down to 2 kids now. Did have 3, down to 2 now.
What happened? What happened to the other one? Just took her back to the shop.
Just send that one back. It was just getting a bit too much on lockdown. I just said, that we don't want this one anymore. It's a faulty one. Let's send it back. No, everything's good, man. Like we've spoke about before, we've got our challenges with what's going on.
We have.
But generally, myself, I'm absolutely fine, man. Like I'm good myself, mate. I feel pretty good. I'm kind of in my makeshift office today. Makeshift office, jumping on here with you, and we're going to get this live done, man. It'd be good fun, man.
I see you've got your certificate up on the wall there for your 25-meter width you did when you were 7.
Well, the truth is with that, I only managed 12 meters and wet myself in the pool, and they gave me the certificate because they felt sorry for me, mate. So
cool. I've got this water painting I did because I got up at 4 o'clock this morning, did 2 hours of meditation, and then knocked this out in half hour. So
oh, that's brilliant. That's excellent. Yeah, excellent. Yeah,
good stuff.
It's just in a piece. Well, you've got plenty of time for that at the moment, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, as I say, I think we talked about this before, but I've definitely been through all sorts. I've been through the wire like a lot of people, but I do feel like I'm here in the new normal now. I'm present with it, and we're getting into a bit of a groove with it. So have our ups and downs and our challenges. We're going to get into this today, right? I mean, got quite a juicy topic, a relevant topic, I think, for a lot of people at the moment, talking about boundaries, and particularly boundaries between work and everything else, we're calling it. I don't believe in work-life balance. I mean, what is that? What's work, not life? Like, are you joking?
Yeah, it's a funny one, that, isn't it, man? Because a lot of people ban that around work-life balance. But it's not like you go to work for 2 hours and then go to your boss. Well, I've done 2 hours of work. I'm going to go home for 2 hours with the family now, and then I'll be back and do another 2 hours of work and then another 2 hours of family. It doesn't quite work like that, right? It's not.
Yeah, it's not like you step out for your lunch break and go, to your boss, yeah, I'm just going to go and do an hour's life, and then I'll come back to work. So we're calling it work. Everything else, obviously we're aware there's boundaries all over the place, right? There's all sorts of different boundaries, whether that's personal boundaries, relationships, business, all sorts of other sort of this can cut across many different areas, but we're focusing on specifically work and everything else today, because we've both had some challenges with it, right?
Definitely, and I think a lot of people that I've spoke to, definitely people at the moment that are working from home, that are in lockdown, it's interesting because, like, I was talking to a friend about this, and he's a personal trainer and a PT, and he's kind of struggling with his diet and eating and exercising, and I think people fall into this illusion, Clive, that if only I had more time, then I would do this stuff. Well, now's never been a better opportunity where you have got time, but then it's I'm still finding the same struggle. So it kind of tells me it's not more about time, it's more about your relationship with yourself and to time and your boundaries you have in your life and organizing your life. It tells me more about
Yeah, I
that
mean,
what's in it
it's
for
a
you.
very obviously individual and personal experience. I mean, obviously with the recent developments, it's sent people in different directions, right? Some people, like for example, key workers, are out there working sort of 24/7,
Mm, mm,
keeping safe and doing all what they're doing. So it's from them, it's gone like full blown work. For
mm.
others, it's been
Yeah.
like, right, I'm still working, but I'm also the kids are home. So there's that kind of stuff going on. And then for some, it's like, well, I've been furloughed and I've got more time than I've ever had. Full-blown staycation. So there's sort of all sorts of variables with this.
Yeah, there's
Um,
loads, man. There's
but
loads.
why is it important, Michael? What's important to you about work, everything else, boundaries? Why is that boundary important?
So I almost said the word work-life balance, but when you're saying like boundaries in work, do you mean, so could you give a little bit more context for that? Do you mean like the boundaries that I set in my business or the boundaries I set in my work?
Yes.
That's my
No, I
work.
mean,
So,
yeah, so work would be, the thing that you do in order to earn money, in order to support yourself,
hmm
whether
hmm
that's your business, whether that's your employment, yeah, that kind of those sorts of things. And I guess I'm just to open things up, sort of looking at, well, why is this important? Why is it important to have sort of work? And let's call it double E, everything else, right? Double E boundaries.
hmm
Why have them? I mean, why not just let everything sort of just merge into one? I mean, let's come at it another way, mate. Okay, let's
Okay,
say
okay.
what happens um, when those boundaries aren't in play?
So like for work-wise, right?
Because yeah,
So
you
if I
got
go back,
unclear boundaries. What happens?
exactly what happened to me 5.5 years ago, man.
Well,
um,
let's get into that. What happens
yeah.
that
So
5.5 years?
I had no boundaries in my life in regard. Not when I say that, right? Okay, so just be very careful with that. When I say no boundaries in my life, I had boundaries in my life, right? But um, I had no boundaries around my business, right? Anyone that had a credit card, I would take on as a client, which is potentially pretty damaging, right? For our line of work,
Hmm.
because not everyone's a good fit and not everyone you enjoy working with, right? So I
Hmm.
had no boundaries there. I had no clear boundaries on the time I started and the time I finished, right, at work. So I would go to work really early in the morning, and I'd say to my wife, I'd be home at this time, and I'd never come home at that time. I'd always be late. I had no boundaries when to switch off from work, right? So there's kind of a system that I use now, right? So all those lack of boundaries around my business, because it's like, and it's easy for us to fall into. It's like, oh, work and business, and I need the money. I've got to bring the income in. If I don't do this, then this is going to happen and that's going to happen, right? And most of the stuff I made up in my head about, like, if I don't do this, if I don't do that, if I don't answer my clients' messages late at night or questions late at night, they're going to leave, and then I'm not going to have the money, then we're going to struggle as a family. So I
Okay.
just kind of had no boundaries that I set with myself, with my family. Like, I never sat down with my wife and kind of made some clear boundaries with my wife. Like, this is what time I'm going to finish. This is when I'm going to be at home.
What was that costing you?
It's costing me my relationship, my wife.
Right.
It was costing me my mental and physical health, right? Because
Wow.
it's just
Okay.
constantly on the grind, work,
Mm.
work, work. It's a fucking good question, man. Like, what was it costing me? Because
Mm.
it's easy to say, oh, this is what I'm doing, but we all do stuff for reasons. It's more about what's it costing you, right? And it was costing
Okay.
me my relationship with my kid. It was costing me a relationship with my wife. And it was costing me my relationship with myself, really, you know?
Mm. Mm.
Um, I was just burnt out. I was just
Mm.
burnt out from it. Just constantly grinding, go, 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 go.
Mm. Mm.
Hmm. What's so that's kind of where it led to me. That's where it led me 5.5 years ago. And it literally led me to, by not having any boundaries, it led me to just burning my business to the ground, man. That's what it
Just
led me
that you
initially.
just literally just took just what you recognized that it was having such a damage. You're like, I've just got to get rid of this thing because I can't continue
Well,
with it, or sort of
no, it was
self-sabotage.
it was it's a lot of self sabotage and a lot of self sabotage. I had a habit of constantly like sabotaging myself. Right, that's going on to a different subject, but I had a habit of that because I was always constantly and I see this a lot of people. A lot of people that I work with,
Hmm.
not all, but a lot of people I work with, is this kind of wanting to feel something new all the time. So like something feels uncomfortable, it gets boring, it gets mundane, and then you get bored of it. So when you get bored, for me, I get destructive. If I'm bored, I start getting destructive, right?
Okay.
So then I got destructive in my business and basically burnt it to the ground. There was a lot of other things that went on into play with that as well. Everyone was just a walking credit card to me. And I worked with people that I didn't really enjoy working with. I didn't say no to people.
Unclear,
I'll take
very
yeah,
unclear
I can help
boundaries.
you.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of unefficacy from me as well, because I was saying yes to helping people that I wasn't really sure whether I could help, right?
Mm.
So I had that constantly on my mind as well. How am I going to help this person? I'm not quite sure if I can help them. There was just a whole bunch of things, but one of the big things for me was boundaries, man. Like, it was all work, right? Life was just all work. This is what we talk about there. It wasn't work-life balance. It wasn't life, right? I have a very different system now, which I will share once I get your perspective on this as well. Right?
Yeah.
Obviously, we could just sit here and listen to me talk for the next half hour,
We
right?
could do, mate, but I might take a power nap, mate, for about 20 minutes.
Yeah, that's all right, mate.
Send
I
me a
just talk.
text when you're back in.
But yeah,
Um,
so I do have a system now, and it's really simple that I put in place that kind of breaks it up for me, man. Breaks it up for me.
there's a lot in what you shared there, and a lot in terms of sort of cost in terms of your family, your relationship, your mental health, your physical health. I mean, this thing, if it's that, in my experience, if our boundaries are left unchecked, especially work, everything else boundaries, it could really have a negative impact. I mean, an overwhelm in particular can come into that.
Definitely, man.
So, I mean, that's obviously a previous show. If you'd like to check that out, listeners, episode 2 of the Men on Form podcast was about overwhelm, which crosses over to this, but boundaries are a really big part of that. No, it's big stuff. I mean,
How is this related to you?
I don't know, right? I historically, and I'm still a pretty organized cat. And so I think that helped me in the past. My biggest struggles with boundaries, in particular recent years, have been to do with this.
Mobile phone. What is that?
To do with the
Never seen.
that.
Never seen one of them.
Basically, well, that's a picture of Maximus from Gladiator.
Nice.
I
thought it was a
digress.
picture of you.
That was a picture of me a few years ago before I shaved my head. Right, and I mean, in my previous employment, I used to work in a public sector, and I used to be on call. So there were periods where I was being contacted 24/7. Where I was living and breathing my work. But I think it started. I think when I was sort of in my earlier years, when I was single, I found it a lot more easy to sort of structure my boundaries. I think where things have got more complicated is obviously being in a relationship. So I'm married, and then also becoming a father, having a 1-year-old son. Then being codependent with those things, and that's where sort of work-life boundaries have really the challenges have come on more and more. And one of the challenges I've had is particularly around WhatsApp messaging, email and stuff like that, and contracting boundaries in place to stop them. Stop me constantly checking and responding to stuff 24/7. So an example, like last year, I had a day off, a rare day off at that point. There was loads going on, and I was with my family, out with my wife and son, and had actually we were away on holiday, and I had a WhatsApp message from work about a load of stuff that needed responding to apparently urgently, and it just, I was there sort of in a really relaxed environment, and suddenly this message just dropped. It just completely pulled me out of where I was, took me out of the present, and totally wrecked the rest of that day, because I couldn't be present because I had this thing that I knew was going on. I needed to respond to it, and the language is a cue, really. I needed, and I should never have looked at. I wish I hadn't looked at my phone. So part of the challenge for me has been redesigning how I engage with this,
Mm.
and we'll come on to sort of some of my experiments and things I've been doing to try and I say try, I mean it's still a work in progress, but try to create digital boundaries between my work and life, and not work and life, work and everything else.
Mm.
Because what I lose and the cost to me is not being able to be present with what it is I'm doing, whether I'm with friends or with my family or with exercising or doing something else. Like I can't be present and relaxed because work has got in somehow.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, and directly got in as well. I mean, there's indirect stuff where stuff's being processed in the background, which is a kind of different boundary. In some ways can't always turn that off, but there are things I can turn off, and this is one of them. So, yeah, that's kind of my challenges, particularly with boundaries and
So,
work and everything else, have been a digital,
mm.
and yeah.
so I share this, man, because it's related to this, and it's a boundary with myself, right?
Sorry, mate. Where's the certificate, God? Is it? Oh,
I've moved.
you've moved
I've
to your
moved.
vision board, have you? Just like
Oh yeah, yeah.
you're gonna
That's been
move
up
it
there.
every 2 minutes. You're gonna like move around. Here's my vision board.
It's my vision board, man. That's when I was. That's when I was riding unicorns and fucking finding rainbows and vision boards and all that, man. That's been up there for years, mate. Years.
Yes,
I
man.
keep it up there just to look at it to remind me what a prat I was sitting there looking at a vision board and not taking any action on it.
Right. Okay. Okay.
It's just a reminder that a bunch of pictures pinned to a board don't do fuck all unless you take action on them.
Ah, that's good. Good life lesson.
Yeah, I used to just sit
Yeah.
there looking at it, going, "When's this all going to happen?"
Just sitting there. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Just I did one and sat on the couch for a week and I
yeah.
didn't get my Ferrari. It was disappointing, but
There's money. I don't know where that went. I don't know when that happened, mate. I didn't do anything with it. Yeah, yeah,
No, nice.
yeah, yeah. I keep it there, mate, just to remind myself. Just remind myself.
A good message.
So,
Carry
uh,
on.
but
Sorry.
but not saying vision boards don't work. They're good.
They're brilliant. They are a great
They're
tool.
good to have there if you look at them and take action on the things. I just leave it there as a reminder that I just put that there and didn't do fuck all with it. So
Okay. Good learning.
so it was on Thursday. So this happened to me. Where are we today? Last week. Okay. So this is a boundary with myself. So my boundaries with myself is I go to bed at 9:30. I get up at 3:30 in the morning, and I have my routines and structures and plans in the morning before the world wakes up to set myself up for my intentions for the day, how I want to feel, what I want to achieve, and the shit I want to get done. Right.
Okay.
So I was talking to a friend on Thursday. We started talking about FIFA 2020. He was telling me about it. I was like, man, like, we've got a Nintendo Switch. I don't play computers anymore because I used to play computers a lot and waste a lot of time and energy. I haven't played computers for years, really. And I went on there, FIFA 2020, £20. I was like, that's cheap. I'll
Hello.
buy it. So I bought it, right?
Yeah.
So here's the thing. So if I want to play FIFA, right, if I want to play the computer, I will get to, the times I can play it is I can play it during the day, but then at this moment in time, I could play it during the day, but that means neglecting my wife and neglecting my kids, right?
Okay.
I could get up early and play it, which would take away my time of working on my mindset and my body. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or the other option is to play it at night. So I was like, okay, Thursday night, I'll have a little go, right?
Yeah.
This is when to bed at 9. I'll have a little go for an
Clear
hour.
boundary. Yeah.
Right?
It's like your FIFA everything else boundary, which is an important boundary. I understand.
I haven't played FIFA for years, right? And then for this very reason, what I'm about to say now, for this very reason,
I sense
12
know what's coming.
12 o'clock rolls in, and I'm like, fuck, man, I'm still up playing this game. Turn it off. As soon as I turn it off, I felt this guilt and shame. Right? Now, like I've said before, the guilt and shame isn't a bad thing because it's just an alarm clock of your life to show you something, right? So I felt guilty and shame that I'd been up all this time playing this, right? For a very specific reason, right? Went to bed, guess what? Didn't get up at my usual time, didn't get all my habits and routines done, didn't get everything done, was a little bit grouchy. That evening, wife went to bed, I'm just going to have an hour on FIFA again. Oh. Roll round 11:30 at night, I'm sitting there, turn it off, and I was like, fuck this, right? Right? Because now I'm feeling guilt and shame again. I'm like, right, is playing FIFA taking me closer to the man I want to be, the husband I want to be, or is FIFA taking me further away from that? Right? Not saying there's anything wrong playing computer games.
Oh well, it's not. And again, yeah, it's not FIFA itself. It's your relationship to FIFA. Because
That's
computer
it.
games can be a great way of relaxing.
Yeah,
For
and
sure.
it's not a problem with it. Like during the
No.
day, if I was to play it for an hour during the day or 2 hours during the day, it wouldn't be a problem, right? But it's at the night. So the next day, I didn't get up in my time. I didn't get everything done that I usually do, right? That day, I felt a lot worse than the day before, right? And I started being grumpy. I was being short with the kids. I was being short with the wife. And I was just generally being a prick for the whole day. During the day, I caught myself and I was like, right. Like, because most people go, I don't know what's up with me. But we always have a strategy for turning our life around. And we also have a strategy for feeling like shit, right? We have I had a strategy that created that. And that strategy was I let my boundaries down and I wasn't following what I know makes me move closer to being that better person that I want to be, what I'm striving towards. And then I just sat there and I was like, man, like, this is a scary thing. I let my boundaries down for 2 days and I feel like this.
It's so easy.
Can you imagine if I'd done that for a month, where I would be? And I was like, I'm already like being a prick to my kids and my wife and that. I'm
Doesn't
like,
take much.
that's 2 days. And I was like, fuck this.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. It was easy to remove because I just looked back at, well, where am I going in life? Am I going here and want to act like that? Or is this where I want to go? I want to go here. Right, let's get that boundary back in place, right?
No,
If you do
that's
play,
a good lesson. But it's just a great example of how quickly these boundaries, when they're not in place and we're not maybe conscious of them, they can just totally just waylay us. For
and
sure.
I never had none of that awareness when I had my business before, Clive. 5.5 years ago, I didn't have that level of awareness around boundaries and what that was costing me in my relationship and stuff, man.
Well, this is the power of coaching. I mean, we're both coaches, and I'm saying this. I'll be saying if I wasn't a coach, it's not about that. This is fact. If you get the support of a coach, they'll help you unpick some of this stuff for sure. And so a big part of me becoming more aware of boundaries has been since I hired a coach, which I've had for many years. Before that, I was sort of a law to myself, and would get incredibly frustrated and confused when I was tired and knackered, and I've been up
a lot of leeway, right?
Yeah, but having that second pair of eyes, we can't see the picture if we're in the frame, right? So that's why coaching's so great. I mean that's a good that you observed that and turned that around so quickly. I wish it had been easier for me with my phone stuff, but it's been very much a sort of
phone one's tough, man.
Slowly. I mean, these things are unbelievable. In terms, I mean, can you imagine if someone pulled this out like 50 years ago or whatever? I mean, this thing is insanely unbelievable, magical as a tool. It's magic, but I mean, it's my relation. It's how, in my experience, my relationship to this has been where the boundaries have got pulled. So, examples like the example I said. Sorry, is there anything else you want to say on your experience there before I sort of dovetail into my my piece on this?
No, man, no. Like you pointed out, and it's again, like, I just want to echo, like, our phones, our computers, our alcohol, drugs, they're not necessarily the problem. It's our relationship to them and what we and that's basically it, man. It's like our relationship to it and what it gives us. Do you know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, you picking up your phone and stuff like that, you do it because you get something from it, right? But there's got to be a boundary because, like you say, people say it's a little thing, but if you constantly got your face in your phone, you're not engaging with your kids and your wife, man. And but go on, man. Sorry, that's it.
I've got to quickly. You can sing a nice song, but I've quickly got to plug my MacBook in because it's going to die, and I don't want to lose this.
Go on, man. Go on. What can I sing? I'm not really a good singer, actually, Clive. So, while Clive's just piss-assing around trying to plug his Mac in, like I'm saying, it's more of our relationship to things. It's not the thing, right? A lot of people get caught up on that. Like, when I first stopped drinking, it was like, I need to stop drinking. I need to stay away from alcohol. It wasn't that. It was just basically like, oh, he's back. Right, there you go.
Sorry, I had 18% left, and I thought, shall I wing it? But I've done that in the past and crashed and burned. A bit like Maverick when he first went to Miramar. It's the second time round. I'm charging up. Yeah, I mean, as I say, it isn't this thing. This is a thing of magic, I believe, but it's our relationship to it. So it's been an ongoing thing. First thing I did was took this out of the bedroom. Because I was noticed that I got into a really bad habit of checking my phone just before bed and going down sort of WhatsApp wormholes with that, and that really assisted me. This is how I've split things out, right? So that's my personal phone, that's my work phone, that's my phone with my podcasts and my audio books.
Fucking hell.
That's my iPod, and I'm going to start using a camera. I do not want everything on one phone.
He's going to get another 4 phones.
I've got one other phone, which is my burner phone for emergencies. So if we go camping or something, and I want to be offline, but I've got an emergency phone, but I don't want to be contacted. And it's taken me, I mean, it sounds ridiculous, but what this is stopping me doing is when I want to listen to my music, I'm not going onto this and going down a wormhole. When I want to interact with my business, I'm on this phone, and I can put that down for the day, and I won't get business stuff coming through on here. When I want to listen to an audiobook or a podcast, I don't get onto getting taken down the wormhole. So this is quite recent. I really sort of split this out, but it was the only way I could stop myself from not going on to look at one thing and then being pulled into something else. So that's something that in terms of, at least, moving on to sort of tips for designing boundaries in terms of work, everything else.
How's that working for you with that at the moment? Have you only just started doing that?
No, I've been doing it the first split was the audio podcasts and the phone. Then the music as well. I don't want my music on my phone. And then recently I've come online with a work phone. It's really helping me. It's really helping me because I'm not my personal communication isn't aligned with my work communication, if that makes sense. So I've created a boundary between my work communication and my everything else communication, and for me that's been so far very healthy. So I'm still working through. There's still a number of other things. I guess moving on to tips and stuff like that and things. I mean, because we're in a very unique scenario in this lockdown, and one of the things that I know a lot of people have been struggling with, myself included, is suddenly my wife's working from home. There's children. We're just on top of each other. Is how we can create sort of boundaries in confined spaces. I mean, I know you've also been in a similar scenario. I mean, what are ways you've been sort of handling and managing that?
Well, I was really struggling for the first couple of weeks because literally, like, I was working from home, and as soon as I finished work, like, laptop shut. So I've got the conservatory upstairs. Laptop shut, go downstairs, and then the kids are jumping all over me fucking back. The wife's talking to me, and they want to play and all that.
Yeah, of course, naturally. Yeah.
And I found myself like, I like when I engage with the kids and play with the kids, but I was really struggling to be present with them, right? I was struggling to be present with my wife because I'm literally like shutting off work, going downstairs. So I'm going from business, coaching, bomb to family. And I was really struggling with this. And I was scratching my head and I'm like, what is going on here? Like, why am I finding this a difficulty at the moment, right? So it kind of dawned on me, it's like, when I'm at my office, I walk to my office. When I finish work, I have a 45-minute walk home. So on that 45-minute walk home, I just decompress. I have that time to myself, that time just to kind of process things. And then when I get to the front door, then it's dad and husband mode, right? And I didn't have that working at home. So like the kids want to play, the wife's talking, but my head's still spinning with work stuff. It's still blah, 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 and all this work stuff. So what I started doing is I said to my wife, like, what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish work half hour to 45 minutes earlier than I normally do. And I'm going to go for a run, right? I'm going to go for a run. And I'll go for a run for half hour, 45 minutes. Yeah. So I go for a run. And in that run, I get to decompress and kind of anything that didn't get done or anything like that, I could just kind of figure out while I'm running. And when I come back to the front door and put the key in the front door to go in, I'm back to dad mode and father mode again. Because I just was struggling with the fact of closing the laptop and just switching straight across because my mind was still running with things. So that was a boundary that I put in place. So when I finish work, boom, I go for a run, I go and do a workout, and then just put that boundary in place. So I'm aware that was a struggle for me. It's just from from work, business, coach to dad, just
Yeah.
straight switch over.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, that sounds healthy. I've done something similar. I haven't done a run, but I've been sort of starting to experiment with going out for a walk. So my commute to work this morning was a walk around the block, and I just find that just creates that little break point between, right, you know, dad time, husband time, home time's over. I walk around the block, and then when I walk through the door, I'm in work mode, straight upstairs, got my coffee, and I'm on. And that's something I've started sort of quite recently. And how's that working for you?
Brilliant, man. Brilliant. Just gives me that clarity. Gives me that time just to get out, let off any steam, energy, and just kind of decompress things, man. And I come back and I'm just like, okay, cool. Like, you know, I've had that time, that separation between switching off from work to, and you think about most people that work, right? So like, this is a struggle for a lot of guys that are working from home at the moment, right? But you think a lot of guys that don't necessarily work from home, and some people do work from home, and there might be a struggle that they've had for a long time. But a lot of people that are traveling, when they finish work, okay, they're traveling, but they're still getting that time where they can decompress, right? They might be listening to music, audiobook, going to sleep, or just sitting on the train reading something or whatever. But they still get that period of time where they've left work, they've got that journey home, and then they go into the front door. And they might not even be aware of that fact, but I wasn't getting that, and I know a lot of other guys that I spoke to were kind of struggling with the same thing. I know when I shared it with you, you was like, "Yeah, I reckon there's a lot of people struggling."
I think
with
so.
that, you know,
it's a new, very different, big change for a lot of people.
Also, as well as like you said, it's like change your clothes, getting in your work clothes.
Yeah, I mean that was the other thing I mean I've been doing for a while now. And it's just really helped me. I get changed into my work clothes. So my work clothes at the moment, it indicates to me consciously and subconsciously that it's work time. And then when I finish my work day, I'll get changed. I'll put on my my joggers and my hoodie or whatever. And then I'm into that, and that has been something that's been really useful for me to sort of click in between work and everything else mode. And again, sort of something that that if you haven't tried, might be worth a go. Because definitely clothes are a big I don't know, thing that really sort of puts me into different modes, I suppose.
Yeah, man. It's your relationship to it, right?
My relationship to my clothes, definitely.
Man.
So good stuff, mate.
Yeah, another thing, like as well with regards to this is like what I said earlier, where another thing I want to chuck out there, because I've thrown this out to a few people and they found it really helpful, is like how I chunk down and break my days down, right? Because like I said earlier, like the lack of boundaries before was just all work. My mind was all work, right? And I've shared this many times, like who the fuck ever sets goals in their relationships? I never thought of that. Like, I never set goals in business and making money. I never set goals in anything else in my life, right?
Yeah.
But
I bet you do now, though, right?
Oh, definitely, man, definitely. But this is like how I break my days down, because I look at it like this, because there's no like work-life balance. Like we said, there's no real like work-life balance. But, you know, kind of like I get up early.
You do get up, mate. Can I just pick up 3:30 in the morning?
Yeah, man.
You're an early riser, bruv, aren't you?
Yeah, man. It's just I do it because I don't want to do it, and that's why I do it. I do it because
you won't get me doing that. I mean, I'm more of a nighttime cat, to be honest. I come alive at about 10 o'clock, but
I'm snoozing. I'm snoozing then unless I'm playing FIFA.
That's my problem. Yeah, I don't know. Just wired differently, and I'm one of those people that need my sleep. So I'm an 8 hours guy, if possible 8. But
I
at least 7.
I prefer mornings, man.
You must. I mean, each to their own right with this, but no, it's interesting. I haven't heard that many people getting up that early, but
I've kept it up as well. It's important to keep it up through this as well. Like, instead of getting up now and going to the gym early, I get up now and do yoga downstairs, do my stretching.
Cool.
So I've just changed that, man. So I get up, but like this is a concept that, like, it's very easy for people to kind of just adapt. So like the first block of the morning from like 3:30 to 7:30, 8 o'clock, I kind of make as my time sort of thing. So in that time, I like at the moment, I get up, I rehydrate, I stretch, I do my meditation, I do my reading, and then I do kind of I do some kind of learning. So while I'm stretching for half hour, 45 minutes, I might listen to an audio book or a video, something like that, right? So I'm kind of getting my mindset right, planning my day, what I want to achieve, setting that all out. Then the next section is kind of like the kids might wake up, but the next section after that is spend some time with the kids, and then it's work. So I've got section 1, which is myself, right? Working on my mind and my mind and my body, getting into the gym, having a workout. Then the next section's work, right? So coaching or working, that section there. Then the section after that is family time, and then my fourth section is time with my wife. FIFA 2020. So next section is my wife, right?
Okay,
So
I like that. It's very clean.
So it's just very simple. First block, right? That's my first 3 hours to myself. What do I need to do in that 3 hours? Right, work on my mindset, challenge beliefs, do that. That's that done. Then work. Okay, what needs to be done at work? Right, then family time. Right, play with the kids, do this with the kids, do that with the kids. And then kids go to bed at this time, and then me and my wife. What do we want to do? Do you want to watch a movie? Do you want to do that? And that's just how I break it down now. Obviously at the weekends.
Very clean. Mine's a lot messier than that. Mine sort of goes sort of tea and 2 hobnobs, and then some kind of breakfast. But depends.
Hobnobbing, are you?
Yeah, something like that. No, I mean I like that.
Simplicity,
yeah,
man.
mine's not as clean as that, but there is some structure to my day in terms of morning walks and stuff. But well, actually, you've sort of I'll just sum up because you've actually touched on a question we've had from one of our listeners. Is there anything else you want to say? We want to say on this before we tie up? I mean,
I've spoke too much, man. Have you got anything you want to say?
No, well, I'll just say, I mean, this is work in progress stuff. The thing is with boundaries, and what I've found is the second we get these once we get these boundaries in place, life will shift and change. So we do need to sort of, or in my experience, I need to review the boundaries from time to time because stuff will change, and then certain boundaries that, for example, worked before I had my son, now don't work. Fact. I mean, they just do not work in the household now. Adapt. Yeah. So boundaries is a changing thing, and what I will say is, if it is something you want to, there's again, it's an ongoing process. That's what we'll say. But yeah, I mean, take or leave some of the tips we've shared here. If you want to email the show, we're at menonform@gmail.com. You can contact us there, or you can contact us directly through the Facebook page if this is something you're having challenges with, or you want to share an experience you've had yourself. We're keen to get people get in more regular conversation with our listeners, right? But no, it's a very important part of the jigsaw, I think. These boundaries. There are other boundaries, obviously, but I think the work, everything else one is an important one, especially during lockdown. I mean, me saying about things changing, I mean, nothing's changed sort of work, everything else, boundaries like this lockdown for a lot of people. So if suddenly things aren't working like they did before, it's about reviewing. It's a good time to review and adapt boundaries at the moment. So that's kind of it for me.
Yeah.
We'll move on to another bit because,
Go on, mate. Go on. Let's go. Let's move on.
Let's kick on because, as part of sort of expanding the show a bit, we've got a few sort of additional bits that we're going to include in our live broadcasts, and that's taking questions. So we've actually had a couple of questions in from listeners. This one came in at the back end of season 1, but it's still as relevant as it was today. So this came in from a gentleman named James. Let me just pull it up. James says,
"What a handsome pair of fellas."
What a handsome fellow Michael is. Clive seems to drop the ball at various times, but
I like Michael's vision board.
I like Michael's vision. I don't know. Yeah, people commenting on Facebook. I can't see that.
No, I've got it open, man.
Okay, cool. Right, James says, "Hi, Clive and Michael. Was listening to your show recently and heard you were taking questions from listeners. I've recently been looking at developing a morning routine to provide a better structure to the beginning of my day, which is all over the place at the moment. Any advice for how I might approach this? Stay on form, James." Thank you, James. Appreciate the question. Michael, you want to first stab at this? Any advice for James, who's looking at morning routines? I mean, you've laid out a pretty intense one yourself, but what's the first step for him? Would you invite?
The first step I say to people is, again, like, I get up at 3:30. Don't copy me, right? I didn't just start getting up at 3:30.
I ain't copying you, mate. I tell you.
I was predominantly someone that used to wake up at like 11, 12 o'clock in the day. late days, things like that. So it all started off with getting up at 7. That was really difficult for me. And just kind of each week, just 15 minutes earlier getting up, right? So let's just say like you want to get a morning routine. Really simply, for me, mine all starts with just simply my alarm being out my bedroom, right? Getting up could simply be getting up 15 minutes earlier, have your alarm outside your bedroom, so you actually have to get out of bed to turn it off because you're less likely to snooze and go back to sleep. I have to get out quick because I've got 4 other people in my house that alarm could wake up, right? So get up quick, turn it off, I'm up then, right? So then I'll go downstairs. First thing I do is I do a litre of water with super greens in it, rehydrate. That's the first thing that I do. Then I sit down and just sit down and just start stretching, right? But
Okay.
you know,
For him, you're suggesting maybe the alarm one would be a good first step, right?
That's it, man. Just getting up 15 minutes earlier than normal. Get consistent with that. When you do that consistently for 7 days, then okay. Say you want to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, right? So just say you want to get up at 5 because it structure your day. And I just love the mornings. I love that whole peace and quiet in the mornings. And if you want to do that and you don't do that currently, don't just try and do it straight off the bat. Do it slowly, right? 15 minutes. Once you've got 7 in a row, consistently getting up that 15 minutes early, then up it to half an hour, right? Another 15 minutes, another 15 minutes, yeah?
Good advice.
So, simple, man. Simple.
My advice to you, James, very simple, is read Hal Elrod's Miracle Morning, which is he's got quite a story around we had a car accident, quite severe car accident, went through a load of stuff, and eventually just found he began this sort of ritual of getting up quite early. I don't advocate getting up. Well, getting up early is not for me, but I do have a routine in the morning. But he goes through a lot of stuff there. I think you do a lot worse than to just pick that up either on audio book or as a book. Hal Elrod's Miracle Morning. I think he's got a podcast as well. So he's talks about how he developed his routine and what benefit it had to him. And I think we're both on the same page here, Michael, where we suggest if we can have some kind of good positive start to the day, a routine. It might be simply getting up and drinking a pint of water as the routine. It might be something a lot more detailed, but
start somewhere simple,
practice.
man.
Just start somewhere simple,
and it builds.
Develop from there. Yeah, I mean my routine just went all up the wall when my son's sleep went all over the place for a year. So, but my routine simply been getting up and going for a 20-minute walk. And that to me has just been just to clear my head, and I sit. I've got a place I go to. I sit for 5 minutes, and it just grounds me to start the day. So, James, check out that, and definitely take on consider some of the considerations there, and you can contact us if you want to continue the conversation. Yes. Something else, Michael, you're going to introduce. So we're going to have a little discussion, debate around sort of the current affairs, as to speak, and something that's come up for you.
What do we call it? Mental form. We had a name for this, didn't we?
You had a name for it.
I had a name for it, but I fucking forgot it.
It's because your morning routine wasn't tight enough.
No. Yeah, it's because I wasn't light and tight with my morning routine.
Exactly,
man.
It's because of FIFA distracted you. Well, I mean, we're gonna sort of take something that's sort of in the media, particularly around obviously life coaching, what we do, and have a bit of a debate around sort of what it means for us.
Yeah,
and sort of encourage a bit of sort of back and forth. So, Michael, you can lead with this one.
Yeah, man. So
this was wanted to discuss.
This was a tweet that was tweeted out on beginning of April. That was from J.K. Rowling. That is obviously the author of I think she's written a couple of books. I'm not quite sure on Harry
Potman. Harry Potman.
Harry Potman. There was a couple of films made about him. So this was the tweet, right? And I want to get your view on it, and I'm going to share my view on it.
Go on, mate.
So, because this is my one, so I'm going to get your view first. Right.
Go on.
So this is what she tweeted, and this is exactly what she tweeted. If you're a life coach who's on here implying people are losers if they ain't learning a new skill, for building a brand while on lockdown, maybe stop. People have challenges you know nothing about. Sometimes getting through something is more than enough. That's it. That was the tweet. So,
Okay.
what's your take on that, Clive? Do you agree with J.K. Rowling?
Okay. I'm just rereading it. If your life coach was on here and find people are losers if they are. I agree with her.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
What is it you specifically agree with it with?
that just because you're not learning a new skill and building a brand while you're on lockdown, it doesn't mean you're a loser. I agree with that. It's all very personal, you know. People at different stages in different seas at different times. Yeah, people have challenges you know nothing about, which is true. If you're just bleating stuff on Twitter, who knows what challenges people have got. You know, when you start to work with people, gents, men, others closely, you find that out. And sometimes getting through something is more than enough. Yeah, I agree with that. It all depends what we're dealing with at any time, where we are at on the sea of life, I suppose. Are we hunkering down in the middle of a storm, or are we sort of winds are blowing, sun are shining, full steams ahead? So I agree with her. What were people saying off the back of that? Because you were saying no, she was getting some heat off that, right?
No, I don't think she was. I don't think she was. But obviously, she's not going to get. Obviously, some people are going to give her heat for it.
Yeah. So what do you think? Or what do you think to what I just said?
I agree and disagree.
Go on.
Right?
Why'd you just? Yeah.
I agree with the tweet from Michael about 3-4 years ago. Right? That would be irrelevant to me. I'd be at that place. Where I am now, I don't agree with that tweet. Right?
Okay.
So I don't agree. Okay, so I was a loser, right? So let me give you this take on it, right? So if you're a life coach, implying people are losers, right? For me personally, calling people losers isn't an effective thing, right? I don't think that's effective, right? People don't want to build their brand, they don't want to do stuff. That's absolutely fine, and it's not that her tweet's right or wrong. It's just that her tweet. Right, and this is the main thing here, Clive. Her tweet is talking to her following, her people, what she believes, right?
Yeah.
So it's her. It's not that her tweet's right or wrong. It's your relationship to it. 3 years ago, my relationship to this tweet would have been, yeah, that's cool. I get that. Now, my relationship to it's very different. I don't agree with it, right?
Okay.
And I shared a video on this saying, like, a lot of people could be using this time a lot more wisely. A lot of people could be looking at studying something new. A lot of people could be looking to learn new skills, right? And these are the people that when they go back to work, they fucking hate their jobs. These are the people that complain and piss and moan about their jobs or their current situation or the problems in their life. And I think for me, if you're one of those people, that's absolutely fine. Like, if you don't want to do anything on this lockdown, you don't want to learn a new skill, you don't want to do anything, I ain't got a problem with that. That's absolutely fine. You're not a loser for that. But then just understand that when
some people can't.
back...
Sorry, Mike. Some people can't. Some people in the lockdown can't do that. Some people are working more than ever.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Some people are working their full-time jobs and have childcare. So it's not the time to take on a new skill or build a brand. Some people are working in the blue lights, working 24/7 on the front line in the A&E department. It's not time for them to learn a new skill or build a new brand. So it's all very personal, right?
Exactly. That's it. And it's just that's what I'm saying is it is personal. You got people that are going to be working more, and like I say with this tweet it's very personal, and it's your relationship to it to where you are. Myself personally, it's not where I am, right? And I'm speaking to the people that are kind of not working those hours, right? So I know, so for example, I know people that hate their jobs, they despise their jobs, they're now at home, they're sitting about, they're drinking, they don't enjoy life, and they complain about their life, right? And I think someone that could read this tweet in that sense, right, is not that it's the tweet, like I said, it's a relationship to it. I'm doing a bad job here explaining it, Clive. But I mean, like, let me just kind of reword it, right? Because I'm not doing it justice.
Why don't you take a couple of seconds and look at your vision board? Mine's
Yeah, go
party.
vision board. If you're that person, like, so let me give you this angle on it, okay? This would be better. So where I was 3 years ago, where I was sitting about 4 years ago, things weren't working for me. I was complaining about life. I was moaning about life. This ain't working, that ain't working. But I wasn't taking the opportunities to learn the new skills and do things, right?
Okay.
That was my responsibility, right? That was my responsibility. That's what I was kind of trying to say. It's easier if I just point it back to myself, right?
Okay.
So that's kind of where, but I get what you're saying as well, because there's people that's on the front line that this isn't irrelevant to, right? But it's the same people.
No, I know what you're saying, because it says if you're a life coach on here implying people lose if they aren't learning a new skill whilst on lockdown, maybe stop. Or maybe continue.
The way you're,
like, you know, I mean, it depends who your audience is, right? Depends who your audience is. Maybe, you know, maybe there are people, like you say, that are in that situation who need this message. So, you know, start. Yeah, it's all about individual, personal, and who the audience is, right? Maybe that message that some life coaches are saying that people lose if they aren't learning a new skill and breed a brand is the right message for a particular audience.
Of course, exactly. That's it.
So yeah, in some ways,
it's right and wrong, right? Just depends on your perspective, right? Just for me, my perspective at the moment is like, I know a few people that complain about things. I'm like, you know, what are you going to do about it? Well, there's nothing I could do. I don't have time. And now they have time. They're at home and they're choosing to spend it drinking and things like that. And it's like, that's where I was in my life. That's what I'm trying to say. So
yeah, no, it's interesting. No, I do understand. I do understand.
And it's kind of that, well, I've got more respect for people that go, do you know what? I'm on lockdown. I'm choosing to drink. I don't actually want to do anything different. And that's my choice. I'll be like, cool, I respect that. What I don't respect is when people kind of like complaining about it and they've got the opportunity to change it and they don't want to change it. Right.
Yeah, fair enough. But they're not clients for us, are they? We work with people that want to make the changes. So cool. No, I mean, it's like, I'm
a really bad representation of that. And it was easy when I pulled it back to myself and just said, that's where I was, man.
I'm mindful of time. I mean, I'll just bottom line by saying it's like, I hate it when people say everyone's doing their best. Well, maybe they're not. Who knows if we're doing our best or not? Maybe I wasn't doing my best. Maybe I was doing half of my best.
Or the other one,
everyone's trying as hard as they can. Well, are they? I wasn't trying as hard as I could.
No.
Do I want to try as hard as I could all the time? No, because trying hard all the time will just exhaust you and eventually lower your immune system, which is not good at the moment. So,
I hate the one. You're just good enough the way you are. That's not true. That's not true for everyone. If you're beating your wife and you're a terrible father and you're out drinking, you're not just good enough the way you are. Was Hitler just good enough the way he was? No, he fucking weren't, right? So, you know, there's nice little memes and quotes that go out there, mate. Do you know what I mean? And people go, oh, I'm just good enough the way I am, when really they know deep down they need to make changes, right?
It's all very very personal. But anyway, we better tie up this merry barn dance. Good to be on the call. I really enjoyed sort of the sharing. I mean, well, one thing I will say, again, if you want to contact us at any point, Men on Form, we're at menonform@gmail.com, and you can also contact the show via the messaging, hit the message us button, whatever it is. What is it on the Facebook page? Contact us, I think it is.
I think it is, mate. Yeah,
and that'll do the same thing. Michael, what's going on at the moment in your practice? What are you working on? Who are you working with, and how can people engage with you?
Just working away with the men's groups, mate. Got my group going with the guys. Anyone's interested in, deepening their connections, their wife and kids, and get moving forward. Want to move forward? They want to start creating better results in their life. Then you can just reach out, man. That's just what I'm doing at the moment, man. Helping guys do that.
Where are you? Where can people find your
Facebook?
Your stuff?
On here, Facebook, probably the best. Email me, michael@michaelhilton.com, MICHEAL @michaelhilton.com. They'll be the two best places to get hold of me, man.
Cool. No
Yourself?
problem.
What are you working on, Clive?
All of my services are over at www.mensactionproject.com. That's www.mensactionproject.com. The map. I'm focusing primarily on working with guys one-to-one at the moment. Offer a complimentary 45-minute coaching session as part of my service. So if anyone wants to yeah, if you want to check out any of my stuff, it's all over on the site. You can contact me through there. I've just created a new About Me page. Gives far more detailed background about what it is I do and why the hell I do it. So yeah, all my stuff's there, or yeah, I'm on all the various social media bits and pieces as well. But yeah, that's where you'll find me.
Good man.
I
Good stuff,
primarily
mate.
work. I mean, I work with guys really around overwhelm and underwhelm. In one of three areas in the main, it's either health, work, or relationships. Those are the themes, and it's guys that are overwhelmed or underwhelmed that seem to sort of find my front door. So and those are the experiences and challenges I've had as well. So
Yeah, man. Yeah.
yeah,
Well, most of the guys I work with have struggle like with stress, anxiety, and overwhelm, because that's, that's been my struggles, man. And how to
modern
get a
day.
handle on that, how to get
Yeah.
focused, increase their energy and focus, man. Because they're the things I've struggled with. So yeah,
Definitely.
I'll do a better job. I'll do a better job on the next call, actually explaining a little bit more what I do and who I work with.
Okay, that's the challenge, man. Live accountability challenge. Up for you. But no, we'll be doing this again in 3 episodes' time. So
Yeah, man.
the next 2 episodes are available on YouTube at our YouTube channel at Men on Form, and also if you search Men on Form we'll put a link below this to where people can plug into the show. This show will also be going up as a show. This is our 3rd show of the season. We're here for the rest of the spring until towards the end of June. We'll be dropping an episode a week. So if you've enjoyed the listen, we're dropping shows weekly every Tuesday on a variety of personal development related topics. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, I think on Spotify now.
Spotify.
Yeah, on Podbean as well. So the links for where you can find listen to sort of previous shows. I mean, this is our 2nd season. We've got a 1st season. All the shows are there. We've 40 shows in our 1st season. We interviewed a whole range of personal development experts on a whole wide range of topics. Went into loads of stuff there as well. So if you enjoyed this and you want to sort of pick up some of our historical listens, you can check that out on the links below this very live Facebook feed.
Where's that? Are we going to put that in the comments? Are we?
Yeah, I'll drop it in the comments after this.
Okay, man. Yeah, cool, man.
But Michael, been a pleasure, mate.
Yep.
And
good, man. I enjoyed it.
We've only really got one more thing to say, really, haven't we?
Yep. What's that?
And that is, if you're off form,
get back on form.
And if you're on form,
stay on form.
Do and be well. Oh,
Donny the douche.
Panic boom!